Entertainment-based businesses need to continue to innovate to bring new customers in, and this is definitely an issue that Jurassic World faces.
We've been pre-booking tickets for months. The park needs a new attraction every few years in order to reinvigorate the public's interest, kind of like the space program.
You can see they're having that issue of going, well, we're going to need to innovate to get customers to come back. You know, if they've already been and they've already seen that wow factor of dinosaurs, then are they going to come back? Do we need more dinosaurs to keep bringing them in? Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Rushock and welcome back to another episode of Actual Accountant Analyzes, where I, an actual accountant, analyse a popular business from either a TV show or a movie. Today's topic of choice is Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. So I've got my Jurassic Park shirt on here, and I'm going to be diving into deep on the theme park slash zoo that was Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Now, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know what Jurassic Park or Jurassic World was, well, this is one of the best clips from any movie ever, and I don't even need to say anything. Just sit back and enjoy the beauty that was the concept behind Jurassic Park initially.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
What a beautiful world. What a beautiful scene. That scene amazes me. But in general, it's a park that was for dinosaurs. Think a zoo, but with dinosaurs. They brought the dinosaurs back to life, and therefore they were going to bring customers in. Jurassic Park, it never got off the grounds. They tried to recreate this in Jurassic World, and it was working for a while until a bit of a disaster, which we can talk about a bit later. But the concept was theme park with dinosaurs. So what I'll be doing is going through the basic data array operations, you know, what goes into the income expenses of a business like this. I'm going to be jumping to a few particular show references. So we're going to be looking at a few interesting things around innovation and risk in business. And then also I'll be going through and giving you my opinion on would a real life version of Jurassic World be profitable? Entertainment-based businesses need to continue to innovate to bring new customers in, and this is definitely an issue that Jurassic World faces.
We've been pre-booking tickets for months. The park needs a new attraction every few years in order to reinvigorate the public's interest, kind of like the space program.
You can see they're having that issue of going, well, we're going to need to innovate to get customers to come back. You know, if they've already been and they've already seen that wow factor of dinosaurs, then are they going to come back? Do we need more dinosaurs to keep bringing them in?
Corporate felt genetic modification would up the wow factor.
They're dinosaurs, wow enough.
Not according to our focus groups.
Focus groups are just such a bizarre thing to focus on. Anyway, as you can see, more dinosaurs are needed to keep this park profitable. Innovation is expensive, and this is something that real life businesses go through. It's currently happening here in Australia with the theme park Dreamworld, and they're going under a $50 million refurbishment of just refurbishing certain parts of the park. And sometimes it's not even adding in new innovation, it's just redoing things. This is all happening over in Disneyland as well, where they're refurbishing the Splash Mountain ride, the oldest ride there, into a Princess and the Frog themed ride. So just by re-theming things, you're not even adding an additional ride, you're just redoing it and maybe making it more up to date. But that up-to-date ride might bring in customers that previously had been and weren't interested in going to the old one, but they're like, oh, it's new, I'm going to come to that. So innovation is key in any entertainment-based business. Another way entertainment-based businesses like Jurassic World can keep themselves fresh is by adding different revenue sources to their business that might attract guests in. So by having things like accommodation, for instance, at Jurassic World, people can now stay here. So it's not only another revenue source, it's another point of attraction for people. Maybe they could add more theme park style rides, you know, to entertain guests outside of the dinosaur aspect. So obviously adding new dinosaurs is an expensive task. It's got a lot of research and development, and you can see it raises these issues like what they have in the show.
Don't you see the danger, John, inherent in what you're doing here? Genetic power is the most awesome force the planet's ever seen, but you wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun.
But by looking at other ways to innovate, and if you can think about that in your own business or a business you'd love to start, what other ways can you bring people in that's not only going to entertain your guests or entertain your customer, but also provide value for yourself in monetary ways? Jurassic World is a beautiful world. You can see here that this theme park is massive. Like, look at all the stuff that's around, and this is just the area people are going and staying in or going to the shops and merchandise, the food. There's obviously some little dinosaurs in this area. And then you can see it just expands beyond this to all the different park with all the other dinosaurs. It is a beautiful world. I'm going to guess this was very expensive to build though. This leads really well into income and expenses of a business like this. And I've just started talking about the expenses when you look at the cost to just build the infrastructure here of this main street area. And the cost to start a business like this would be huge. It's definitely not going to be something you're starting from your bedroom. You're going to need mass investment to get this off the ground. The startup costs are going to be all your different buildings and stuff down your main street, your accommodation, all that. You've got to build all these different enclosures. You're going to have a lot of safety checks, etc. And then you've just got the huge cost of the research and development of bringing dinosaurs back to life. This obviously hasn't been done in the real world, so who knows what that would cost. But it's just a huge cost to develop something like this. There are so many expenses that go into big businesses like this that they would have full accounts teams that are dedicated to try and look at this. And they touch on that a bit through the movie, talking about, well, what goes into this? What do we need to return to actually cover these costs? So how would they go about trying to cover the costs of a park like this? Well, admission prices would make up the most of their income, and they would be huge. This is the one and only dinosaur park, so therefore you would pay a premium to get in here. You'd also be looking at things like the accommodation. If you're staying on the island, there would be a range of different accommodations starting from, 1 star up to 5 stars. And again, you would pay a premium for this. I'm sure there'd be some rooms that would have a view of dinosaurs, for instance, from your balcony. You're going to then have a look at overpriced merchandise and overpriced food. And who has been to an event, a theme park or something like that, and gone, wow, I am paying a fortune for food? Well, the reason why they can do this is because what other options do you have? Quite often they say you can't bring other food in, and therefore you're going to have to charge a premium. And it's just smart business. You go, well, they have no other option. I can charge a premium. They might complain about it, but they're going to do it again tomorrow. So there's different ways that this park will raise revenue, but they're going to have to raise a lot of revenue to cover the costs. Risk is a big part of business, and especially when it comes to structuring. And something I want to focus on is the risk of Jurassic World and how it would likely be structured. And you can see from this clip here, the park is just risky. You would not want this happening as a director or any kind of stakeholder seeing this happening down the main street. You have lawsuits coming everywhere, the damages, the insurance company cleanup. This is just a disaster really for everyone involved. Oh god. It's just, if an event like that happens, it's not good for your business. I think anyone can see if that happens and you're the owner of a business, you would just want to hide. So what would they be doing to try and alleviate some of this risk? Well, they would be likely using some kind of complex company structure to try and remove as much risk as they can from the directors personally themselves. They also may be segmenting parts of the business into different companies to try and remove further risk that if something goes wrong in one section, maybe some of the other assets are safe over here. What a lot of these legal structures are set up are trying to create as many barriers as they can to try and maybe deter someone from coming after them. But when we have incidents like that Main Street incidents where people have died at the park, there is going to be massive lawsuits here, there, and everywhere. And the owners, if they were still alive, which we know some of them weren't, then they're going to be in big trouble. Another big issue for a park like this is going to be the insurance costs. When you're trying to insure something that the insurance companies have never seen before, there's a good chance you're going to pay a lot of money in insurance premiums. And especially when you see the issues that Jurassic Park had, we've got dinosaurs on the loose there before the place has even opened. When you would have gone to an insurance broker and say, hey, I want to cover my dinosaur park, Jurassic World, a lot of people would have said, no, we want nothing to do with it. And maybe the one or two companies that were interested would have been rubbing their hands together going, we can make a fortune off of this. Because you're wanting to cover yourself for risk, and they know it's high risk, so therefore you pay a fortune for it. Now, whether a payout would have happened after the instance of Jurassic World, who knows? I imagine there would have been a big legal battle there as well. Now let's talk profitability. Is Jurassic World profitable? And I want to go right back to the start of Jurassic Park in one of the early scenes when we had some of the key stakeholders looking at dinosaurs for the first times and giving their thoughts on profitability. You can see they definitely thought they were onto a money maker here. They thought they were going to win big time. But my opinion is overall, I'm going to give Jurassic World and Jurassic Park concept a overall grade of a C. And my reasons for this is it is just such a high risk, high reward style business. I think if things had gone well, it would have been massively profitable. But as you can see in the movie, it was a disaster and therefore a massive loss. It just comes down to a high risk, high reward style business. The costs could definitely blow out a budget. It would be hard to estimate the cost when you're the first to market in this. You know, what about if something goes wrong, an enclosure breaks, or you've got an animal that dies, you know, or you need extra repairs? How do you deal with those things? At the same time though, they've got a huge competitive advantage by being the only place that can offer real life dinosaurs. So by having a competitive advantage, it definitely can increase your profitability. And as we've talked about earlier, you can charge a premium for things because no one can get this anywhere else. So it definitely has its pros and cons. And I think that's why it falls right on there on that C range, because it's just too risky to me to go too high. But it has that high reward that I don't want to go too low on it. Now, what do you want me to cover next? I love doing this one, but I want to cover stuff you say. So drop a comment down below. What business should I cover from a TV show or movie? And if you haven't gone and checked out the other episodes in this series, make sure you do that next. I'll talk to you again on the next one.